Architectural Builders Supply is pleased to present you with this recording of the technical question that is listed in the title of this video.
This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.
Good. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. So, why are you looking at center hung pivots?
Well, I've got a door that I haven't purchased it yet. It's going to be the 4.0 by 8.0, and I mean I need a decent sized door, and that's going to do the job for me for an interior door. And in my research, I think that's probably going to be the best hinge that can hold that load. But if I'm not correct, I'm open for options.
So why a center hung? Just because of the weight?
Yeah, I think, yes.
Okay. How heavy is the door?
I don't know that one yet either. I got to call out to the guy, and he's off today.
So that...
But it's solid. It's a solid... All right, go ahead.
Typical solid core door, you were going to say?
Yeah, that's 1 3/4 inches.
Yeah, okay. So probably about 200 pounds.
Okay.
Something in that range. If it's just 1 3/4 inch solid particle board, 4.080. Yeah, pivots are always a great option. Doesn't have to be pivots, but why a center hung? There needs to be a reason other than the weight.
Okay, the appearance. I mean, again, I'm open.
Yeah, no. I'm just probing. So you selected that because you don't see much of the hardware?
Correct.
Okay. And that is very common for that to be used. Will the door swing in one direction, or will it be double acting like a saloon or a cafe door?
One direction.
Okay. So the upside of the center hung pivot that you elected, the 037, which is just your dart against the dartboard. I get it. Starting point. It'll certainly handle the weight, as will the smaller version of that. It will handle the weight. So it'll handle the weight, and you don't really see the hardware. And actually, you'd be very hard-pressed to ever see it. You're not going to see the hardware. So it's concealed. The downside of that is you will need to bullnose the pivot style on the pull side of the door so that the outside corner will clear the jamb when the door goes from 0 degree all the way out to 90 degree. So you'd need to make an accommodation on the door. You'd need to, you could think of it radiusing, but we would call it bullnosing, like the top row of tile in the bathroom.
Sure.
So that accommodation needs to be made, or you increase the margin from the edge of the door to the jamb so that you don't bullnose that. But that dimension, I'd have to put it in AutoCAD, or something like that. But my guess is 1/4 inch. So you've got a much wider gap there. That's unsightly. The other downside is there is no function of an intermediate pivot or like middle hinges. So if your door were to warp at all, your door manufacturer the rope that they'll hang you with is going to be the fact that they'll classify it as improperly hung. So if the door were to be warped, using center hung pivots is going to result in you not having a path of warranty claim.
Okay.
So that's the downsides. The upside, though, is because you're open, is you could consider something like a sauce hinge, a concealed hinge, that will easily handle the weight, utterly concealed when the door is closed, and will be in the price range, most certainly. The only time you get into trouble with a concealed hinge like a sauce, you'd be looking at a 218 sauce, is that you can't have an excessive inset dimension or excessive clearance issues when the door goes from 0 to 90 and then past that because of how those hinges articulate through the opening. So if it's a common, wood frame, wood door, regular casing, you're going only to 90 degrees, sauce is the way to go, in my opinion, because it will get you out of the requirement of bullnosing. You could go with an
Mhm.
offset pivot, which is very elegant in terms of the weight, but you're going to see that stuff. The other advantage with SOS is you're really not going to run afoul of any established warranty with your wood door manufacturer. One out of,
Right.
2 or 3 out of 100, they're going to be warped. Guaranteed.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm familiar with the sauce. Now, what I've got right now is it's a rough opening. So I've got, the 2x4 studs on the opened, roughed in area.
Mm-hmm.
So to put that sauce hinge in there, trying to think what the best way for me to do that would be is put another. Well, could it go right into that stud, or do I have?
Well, proper construction gives you double studs at door openings. So,
right. Okay. So.
And yeah, the depth of the SOS 218 mortise, yeah, that's going to get you into the stud. That's for sure.
How deep is that?
Well, let me take a look.
Is it a SOS 218? Is that what you're? I'm on your website.
Yeah, you want a 218. That'd
Okay.
be the right one to use. So looking at the template.
Oh, you got a jig? Is that what that is? A jig?
Yeah, I can talk at length about that as well. You're about, it's 1 and 41/64. 1 divided by 64 times 41 is 0.64. So you're about 1 and 11/16 is where you're going to be on that. So you're definitely going to get into so if we subtract minus 0.75, you're going to chew into that sucker 1 plus. You're going to get into that thing about just heavy on 13/16. No big deal, I don't think.
Okay, I'm looking at this. Okay, so to do this right, I would need the template.
You wouldn't need the template, but the template will make the job easier and look more professional.
Okay. Am I looking at? Is it $463 for the template?
No.
Okay, maybe I'm not. Okay, good.
No, you want a 218 IT is the right part number for that. Those hinges that I mentioned are really dirt cheap. And then the template itself is about $25. If you were to buy the whole kit, you're going to get into a couple $100 easily. But if you're doing just the template that you're going to nail down and you're going to reposition it 8 times, 4 on the jamb, 4 on the door, that template itself is $25. You're going to need the right. First of all, your door supplier is going to prep all this. You're not going to do any of this. You're going to pay your door guy to do it. Oh no, I mean, you ain't a door distributor if you can't prep for SOS. Would be my opinion.
All right. So they're going to give me the jamb too, or just do the door side of it?
Well, you're ordering a wood door and a wood frame, right?
No, not the frame. But
you're going to build your own frame.
But well, you're now actually you're helping me because I'm going to say I need frame and door.
Okay.
That's the best way to do it. Yeah, isn't it? That's the best way to do this thing. And then, okay, I think I see what you're saying, or hear what you're saying. Yeah, they will mortise it all out. And is that the standard hinge, the SOS hinge, the 218? 218?
It's the standard for an 1 3/4 thick door. Yes.
Okay. And I would need like 4 of those.
Yeah, 4 would be best practice for an 8-foot tall door.
Okay, so if I say, hey guys, I need it mortised out for boom, 4 of those, they can do that, and then I don't need to buy the template from you. I can just get the 4 hinges from you.
Yeah, right. You would buy the hardware from me, and your door supplier would prep that for the templates that you would supply them.
Oh, that's nice. Okay. Okay, so how much are these hinges? Are they $46.89 a piece?
Something like that. They are not very expensive.
Okay, so you're suggesting that for a 4.0 by 8.0 door over the pivot hinge.
I would, because what's driving us is your desire to conceal the hardware, and a center hung pivot is concealed, but you have to bullnose that or increase the margin between the jamb and the edge of the door.
Okay, and I'm okay with either one of those, by the way. It's a room that's not going to be used much.
Yeah. Are you painting the door?
I'm going to stain the door.
You don't want to bullnose it. The reason you
So
don't,
take the veneer off.
well, and then yes, and what you'll do is accentuate the crossbanding and backer. So you're going to see these weird stripes on the edge of your door. 99% of people don't notice it, but 1% does, and that 1% is right. You see it.
Okay. Okay. What other hinge would you have that's, you were saying, was it an exposed center?
We call it, the other pivot type is an offset pivot. And that would be super cool, an offset pivot, but there's no advantage, in my opinion. It's going to cost far more. You're going to see the hardware. The advantage of it is that the weight of the door is borne by earth rather than the jamb. But your door is not that heavy in the world of doors. I mean, it's just not, is the bottom line. If it was 600 pounds, we'd be talking something different.
Okay. It's like I've got to run this by the wife, and she is really digging that way that opens up the center hinge. She really likes that look. She thinks it's real cool.
It is cool. I would go to your door manufacturer and say, hey, listen, you're going to need to bullnose this, and I don't want to see the underlying layers of crossbanding and backer under the veneer, because you've got to put a really big radius roundover on that. Is what you have to do. That's a large radius for that hardware.
So if I offset it from the wall, how much am I looking at? Like when you say it's a big offset, what is?
You mean
big?
The gap between the jamb and the edge of the door?
Right.
If you don't bullnose it, I would have to put it in AutoCAD, which I could easily do, but my guess is somewhere in the 1/4 inch range.
Oh, 1/4 of an inch?
Yeah, but in the world of doors, that's a large gap. It should be an 1/8 of an inch.
What do they call the? It's like in a normal door. I'm walking over to a normal door now, where it stops. It hits it like a little piece of wood, like a little strip of wood in there.
Yeah,
what do they call that?
The doorstop.
Doorstop. Yep. Cool. Could I put a doorstop on this door since it's only going to swing one way?
You're going to have to. You'll have to have a stop somehow, whether it be wood or a hardware stop. You could put a roller latch there. We have not talked about how you'll latch the door. You'll need some stop. Absolutely.
Okay.
Which you won't see from the pull side.
Right. Right. Wait a minute. I'm trying to picture this. Huh. So I'll have a stop on just one side of the door. Is that right? Like where the latch would be?
Right.
And I might not be using this right terminology. Okay. So that would be on the outside of the door, right?
It'd be on the push side of the door.
The push side of the door. Right. The push side. Now the other side, normally you don't have a stop. Does that sound correct?
On the pull side, you would not.
The pull side, I would not. Right. But on the adjacent side of the door, we're closer to the hinged side. What do you call that side?
I'd call it the pivot side of the door, or the pivot jamb.
All right. So the pivot jamb, would that have a stop in it anywhere?
No, not at all. In fact, it would be in the way.
Okay, so if I'm swinging the door, but if I'm just trying to picture this. What if I put a stop on the hinge side, but rather on the opposite side of the push? So the opposite side of the stop on the push side, would that conceal that gap?
No. No. You could put a piece of wood on your jamb so that it prevents a line of sight, but you've got to have enough room for that outside corner of that edge to rotate through its opening around the vertical axis of pivoting. But at the end of the day, you could solve the problem by simply radiusing the door, and radiusing is when you put a bullnose on both sides of that same style. You could radius it. So that would solve that problem.
But you're saying I would see that there was a negative side to that, though, wasn't there? It was seeing the banding or something like that?
Yeah, the cross banding and backer.
No, accentuate means that I would, once it's stained, you're going to see it. Okay.
Yeah, well, you'll see it before you stain it. Staining it would accentuate it.
Gotcha. Yeah, because the veneer, because of the veneer. Does that sound correct?
Yeah. What veneer are you going to have on the door?
I just got a quote on a red oak. So I'm thinking it's going to be red oak.
Okay.
I'll just stain that.
Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, that's already darkish, but the cross banding and backer is not going to be the same natural color. And it depends on the construction of the door. You know, it could be a 5-ply door, it could be a 7-ply or a 9-ply door, meaning it's a door is just like plywood.
And they just keep stacking it on there?
Yeah, they just use additional layers. Yeah, and that's what it is. It's either the glue is either cold press or it's hot press. Just how the glue is activated. Just out of professional curiosity, what was the cost of the door?
Boy, that's been varying. I've got a local. Well, all of my quotes are local. $850. That's the best price I found. And there's other guys that are wanting $1,600.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to see the cut sheets of the doors to know, but yeah, $850 with the fact that they're going to have to bring it in freight-wise. You know, if you ordered it from me, it's going to be more than that because of freight. So
Naples, Florida, is that?
Yeah,
is that accurate?
Yeah, I am. The doors would probably come out of Atlanta. So anyway, the door aside, you would need some way to prevent the door from swinging in the wrong direction. Generally, with center hung pivots, people want that concealed type of aesthetic, and you then end up using like an edge pole or a concealed knife pole, and then you use a roller latch that has an incorporated stop to prevent the door from swinging in, so that you could, in your mind's eye, imagine a bank of a pair of doors. Now think about 2 pair. Now think about 3 pair of doors on the 20-foot long wall. I don't want to see all this hardware. All your doors are, all your veneer is pair matched. Those pairs are running matched. You know, and keeping hardware out of sight is the goal.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. But I would be, warp is a real thing. And take it from me, your door guy he ain't gonna be able to help you if you go center hung. And you should ask the question, if I go center hung and this thing warps, are you giving me a new door? Just be upfront, because that'll be, your door supplier will like it because they can give you a straight answer. Because I've manufactured wood doors. I've spent decades with wood doors. I've machined thousands of wood doors myself. There ain't a manufacturer I've ever heard of that would warrant that.
Okay.
What you could do is you could order it with structural lumber as the core, LSL or timber strand as the core structural lumber. That would certainly help big time, rather than particle board. You know, what we used to do in the old days is if you had a pallet of 20 doors in your shop, at the end of the night, if you didn't cover that skid with a piece of cardboard, that door in the morning, the top door is going to be cupped. Flip it over. The next morning, it's going to be cupped. And it's just moisture content, all that stuff.
Oh, I see. What, it just keeps cupping the opposite direction?
Absolutely. It's all about where it's losing moisture from.
Oh wow. Oh wow. Okay. All right. So in your opinion, then the sauce hinges would be the way to go.
It's the bee's knees.
Okay.
Solves all
And
your problems.
And the 218 is the model number that you would sell me?
Yeah. You'd want the 218 hinge, then you would select your finish.
All right. And okay, if I can't get a mortise, then I'm gonna have to find a door guy. Are they easy to find that can hang doors?
Have you ever changed your own oil in your car?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Then you've got the skills to do this, and I've got the knowledge to teach you how to do it if you wanted to. If you wanted to learn how to do it, it's not hard.
When you're saying learn, is that the mortising part or?
No, it's. I mean, assuming that you either have knowledge of how a router works or are willing to get that now. Okay. Yeah. So it's just take the template, do this with it. Then when you're done with that, do this. Here are the steps. That's all right. It is.
All right. So so what I want to, So what, last question then. If I have the door, but I don't have the frame, and I only have the roughed in door frame, what would I do? How would I accomplish hanging this door?
Well, first of all, you would need to get the oak lumber. Not to be pedantic, but you'd get the oak lumber, you'd rip it all, you would prepare it, you'd sand it, then you would have to rabbet the top of each jamb. You would then mortise, you would apply your stops, you would mortise for all your hardware, you would then take the header and the two jambs and you would nail or screw them together. And you'd probably put a temporary piece of wood at the bottom to act as a spreader. You would get that all into the opening and you would shim it so that you're true plumb level and square. Then you would shoot that down or you would attach it to your rough buck. Once the frame is in solid to the rough buck, your rough studs, now you're going to mortise the door for all your hardware. Then you and another person are going to hang the door. You're going to attach the hardware, the hinges to probably the door, and you're going to hoist that sucker up and get it upright, turn those hinges out 60 degrees and get the hinges in the pockets. Or what you could do is you could build it as a pre-hung where you hang the door in the jamb laying flat. So it's easier, and then you and one other person get that sucker tipped up and shoved into the opening. You take shims, you get it true plumb level and square, and you nail that.
Oh boy, okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to install this opening yourself, I mean, that's what it is. It's just, it's a fight. If you don't have a contractor or a carpenter who's doing this, this is something you're going to do.
Yeah, it's hard to find a guy to do one door. All right, so my best bet, it sounds like, is to find this door that has the frame. So it's all one deal.
You want a pre-hung is what we call it. So if it was me, I would get your door supplier to give you a price of what we call a pre-hung. He's going to have a series of questions for you. You're going to tell him what hardware you want him to machine for it. You're going to buy the hardware from me, and I'm going to ship it right to him so that he can attach all of it to turn it into a pre-hung. You're going to get one big giant unit where you and your buddy are going to get it in place.
Okay, I can do that, I think.
Yeah, all the assembly's done. You can build a jamb, but you're going to need a table saw. You're going to maybe need a planer. You're going to need a router. You're going to need the time. Time's a problem.
I have those.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I attempted to put in some sauce hinges. Well, they were sauce hinge knockoffs without a template. It turned out okay.
You can do it.
Yeah. It just wasn't professional, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I think sauce, I'd have to stick with sauce.
The knockoffs don't help you. They're generally more expensive, and in terms of if it's a knockoff, I'm thinking a multi-axis adjustable style. Tectus, Sugatsuni, McKinney, somebody else, I forget their name. A lot of people, other people make those, but if they've reinvented the wheel, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah, I can't remember the name. I did buy a Sakasumi one time, and nice. By the way, I think, okay, do the sauce hinges, do they have three-way adjustments, or are they even necessary?
Nope. They do not. So, and that's where the Sugatsunis and the Tectus come in, because you can adjust those in X, Y, and Z axis. My argument is, if you mortise the hinge where the template tells you to do it, you do not need to adjust that. Sauce has been making these hinges for decades. They've said, we will never make a multi-axis adjustable hinge. You're paying more for, I've had people tell me, yeah, but I know I'm going to be off a 16th of an inch. And I say to myself, well, just mortise it in the right location. Get a 2x4 and test it on that first,
Yeah, good point.
Because those hinges go from $50 each to $170 each, or $140 each. It's a lot more money.
Yeah, that's per hinge, right?
Each. And if you got one opening, that's fine. What if you got 20 doors?
Yeah. Then it gets real expensive. Sure. Yeah. All right. Well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to wait for this guy to call me back tomorrow and see if I can get a pre-hung. And I'll specify what hinges I want on there, and then I'll call you and we'll get this thing worked out. You can ship it to them.
Yeah. And then the other thing to think about is how you're going to latch the door. How you're going to pull it open, and what's going to keep it in the closed position. So generally it's a concealed edge pull. A Rockwood 885 would be the part number for that. And then you would want
Rockwood 885. Okay.
Yeah. And then the roller latch you want to look at is a Rockwood 593. I think that's the right part number. And you'll see where it's got the incorporated stop on it. That's the way to go.
Stop. What'd you say? Stop and pull? Something like that?
The edge pull is an 885, and the roller latch with the integrated stop is a 593.
Okay. Rockwood. All right. And these are on your website, Rockwood?
They're on the website. They're on the shelf.
All right, 885. There it is. Oh, yeah.
That may not be what you want, but those three pieces, when you're doing concealed, all of that really goes together.
Oh, that's really cool, yeah. And then the 593. 593. What is that? What is that?
593. That's definitely it. Look at the template. Look on the item.
I see.
Yeah, when you look at the template, you're like, yeah, that's it.
I see what you're doing here. Yep. So would I tell the door guy this as well, because he's got a mortise these in?
Tell him what you would do is you would write a hardware set, hinges, your roller latch, and then your door pull, and you would get the templates, and you would send all that to him and say, this is what it needs to be prepped for, and they might want to punt, and you'll say, listen, I'll even make it easier. I'll have my hardware guy ship you the stuff, so you got it in your hand.
Okay. Including the templates?
Well, the templates would be with the hardware, but yes,
I gotcha.
Those templates are on, when you're in my website, you can just save them, download them.
Oh, cool. All right. Whew. I didn't think it's going to be so complicated.
Oh, it's not. The second time you do this, it'll be easy. But it'll be worth it, though. It'll look really cool when you're done.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, I think you're right. That's what I'm shooting for. All right, cool. All right, so I got your number. I will call you if I have any questions, which I'm probably going to have questions. And hopefully he will answer them. It's like, yeah, we'll do all that. And then I'll just call you and pay you, and you'll ship it to him.
Yeah, or three-way call. I'll be here tomorrow, or
that's
I'll be
even
here
better.
till I'm 90. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right, sounds awesome, Richard. Thanks for your time today. I'll be
I'm
talking
glad you
to
called.
again later.
Thank you,
You're
sir.
welcome.
Bye.
Yes, sir. Have a good evening.
Architectural Builders Supply hopes you have enjoyed this program. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up. Please subscribe and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.